So how do you want to start this?
Ideally not with a mouthful of chocolate ice cream, but you know.
No, let's not start it chewing all over the microphone and with our chocolate ice cream.
Again, do you want to take my chocolate away from me?
No, I don't want to take your chocolate away from you.
Okay.
All set with your drink. Nice little Gatorade. And
Yeah, because you're gonna make me drink it.
all right, well then, just start it off.
Yeah, I mean you're the one running the show here
I
because according to you, you are the host, and I'm just with you.
Let's just leave that kind of vague,
No,
like who the real
because
host
this
is.
was my idea.
It was your. All right. Hello, and welcome to the premiere episode to Make Me Believe. I am your host, Adrian, and with me always is my wonderful wife, Kaylyn. You want to say hi?
The one who hatched this whole idea.
Yeah,
Is
the
that?
one that hatched
Yeah,
this whole
but
idea.
you're the host.
But I'm the
Okay.
host. Okay. You want to say hi?
Oh, hello.
Okay. So the general premise for this podcast is to make my wife believe. I'm just going to tell her different stories.
Make me believe in what? You
ma-
left that
ma-
part out. You like started to form the word and then stopped. It's like
Okay, yeah,
missing
yeah,
on your
yeah.
lips.
So it's not religious, but more supernatural. So there's going to be some horror stories, some demon possessions, maybe some cryptids thrown in there.
I don't
Just
even know what that is.
cryptids.
Yeah, that's how much I don't believe in the supernatural. I don't even know what that is. I believe in the TV show Supernatural, but I
Love
don't
the
believe
TV show.
in any of this other crap. It's all a lie.
No, I'm an avid believer ever since I was a kid. I mean, I grew up on the
Bel-
ranch down in South San Antonio. My ranch was haunted. We had a lady in white. We'll get into that at some later date.
And I believe that you believe that happened.
So, I mean, as you can hear, she does not believe in any of this stuff.
None of it.
None of it. And it is definitely. I'm not going to say it's caused a strain in this relationship, but it's definitely been a fun sort of back and forth banter. I guess would be the best way to describe it. And I very much would like to talk about it and try to get her to believe.
Whatever.
Okay, all right. So, do you want to just get into this? Get into this the stories? 'Cause I got two for you today.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, let me
Go
take
ahead.
a sip of my water before we start this.
Okay. I'm gonna keep eating my chocolate. So. Okay.
Um, okay. So we're gonna start with a cryptid actually. That
I don't. What is a cryptid? Are you gonna explain to me what that is?
um,
Because otherwise, we're gonna have to Google some stuff.
a cryptid is a creature whose existence is disputed or unsubstantiated, often based on folklore or anecdotal evidence. While not proven by science, cryptids are frequently the subject of cryptozoology, the study of hidden or unknown animals. So, like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and the Mothman.
Okay. So pretty much everything we're gonna talk about it would be some form of cryptid because none of it's real. Cool. All right. Go ahead. So we're gonna learn about some weird creature today.
So, I mean, you got to believe. I mean, it's a lot of people, but Bigfoot.
Bigfoot's not real. Like there's no,
No?
no,
Okay. What about a goat man?
no.
No?
None of that is real.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a story that might make you believe. Goat man, half goat. According to legends, the Lake Worth monster, yeah, we're starting in my hometown, Lake Worth, Texas, lives in the shore of the West Fork of the Trinity River. It can swim, climb trees, eat fish and chicken, and is 7 feet tall, has an unhuman strength, and some reports say horns sprouting from its head, giving the monster the moniker of Goatman. The summer of 1969 was hot and humid in Tarrant County. Back then, the area near Greer Island wasn't gated off like it is now. Teenagers could go down the shoreline road around the lake to be alone and enjoy the freedom of the summer nights. Witnesses state on July 9th, a group of three couples were parked by a clearing around midnight. A beast leapt onto their car from the trees above. The monster tried to grab one woman, but they sped off before he could take her away. It wasn't until October of the same year a man named Alan Pastor took a picture of the Lake Worth monster, which is the only photographic evidence of this creature. The picture shows a large white body. I will show you a picture of that here later. A local police dispatcher told the Fort Worth Star Telegram, "We've had reports about this thing for about 2 months, but we've always laughed them off as pranks. It wasn't until account of an 18-inch gash in the side of a car and a terrified nature of the witness led police to open up a full investigation." The following day, local newspapers published an article that caused the entire city to go into a full-blown monster hunt. The island was quickly swarmed by truckloads of men with guns trying to hunt the creature, spectators with cameras trying to catch a glimpse of it, swarms of reporters trying to find the story of their life, as well as local police trying to keep the peace. And this is a relatively small island in Lake Worth. You've seen it.
Is it over there by the base?
No.
No.
I'll pull it up and show you where it's at. Rick Pratt, the director of Greer Island Nature Center at the time, remembers folks coming out with wine, whiskey, and beer to have a good time and hunt for the creature. Here was a Sasquatch of our very own, Pratt said. It was a party. What the hell? Let's go. So we just kind of in it for the beers.
Leave it to Texans to turn a monster attacking people into some sort of party.
Oh, yeah. On the night of July 10th, a few dozen people were at the clearing known for dumping near Lake Worth when the monster made another appearance. He appeared on the cliff, looking angry, and threw a tire 500 feet. Everyone, including a group of sheriff's deputies, ran away in fear. One witness said the monster gave off a pitiful cry like something was hurting him. Craig Woolheater was 9 that summer. He was fascinated with monsters, dinosaurs, and UFOs. He clipped out the newspaper stories about the Lake Worth monster scare and kept them in a scrapbook. Years later, while driving through Louisiana, he saw something unexplainable in his headlights. He saw a gray body of a huge primate on 2 legs. He became a believer and started the Texas Bigfoot Research Center in 1999 to study and educate people about the elusive creature. Today, he lives in Mansfield and is a full-time cryptozoology blogger. He believes the Lake Worth monster was a real creature, stopping in the area because of its viable habitat. I personally think it is undiscovered, uncatalogued primate species, he says. One claim, the thing about myths and monsters is they are not easy to prove. But this next story is absolutely true. It was the summer of 1999 when I was at Fort Worth Camp Carter, just down the Trinity River from Lake Worth. Once we went into the woods in the late evening, trees casting a long blue shadow as mosquitoes nipped at our ankles and elbows. We came to a clearing where the camp counselors had made a small campfire. They told us about the legend of the Goatman. Listen carefully, they told us, wide-eyed with fear and amazement. You'll hear the cry on clear nights like tonight. The older boys at the camp told us that it was just the counselors making faint howling that we all heard just to scare us. Walking back to our tents, sticky with the hot, humid air, I knew the Goatman. I just had to be stories. Yet I lay down in my bunk that night, listening to the melody of cicadas outside. I hear something unnatural, a mournful bleating echoing from far across the lake, unmistakable as the monster's lone cry. So that is the end of that story.
And we're not accounting for that one lady that lives around Samson Park that literally has goats and chickens in her front yard.
No, that's a little bit farther from Greer Island.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is
Is anybody other than that guy still alive? Because it was in 1969. I mean,
well, it right here I have actually articles. Greer Island Goatman from the Dallas News, WFAA, Texas Wildlife Magazine. It was all over. There's videos and articles all about it. So this was a genuine, real sighting.
it was what they thought was real.
But here's Lake Worth, right over here. Samson Park, that's where we used to go hiking and all that.
Okay. Okay, so that's a little north of it.
A little north,
So people used to go to that
northwest.
island,
Oh yeah, all the time.
and now it's blocked off.
Yes, yes it is.
And it's blocked off because of this mysterious alleged goat man.
I don't know why it's exactly blocked off now, but it is definitely blocked off.
Okay, so these people, even the cops didn't take them seriously until somebody mysteriously got an 18-inch gash in the side of their car.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And the hysterical person who owned this vehicle is the one who told them that it was this goat man who did it?
It was multiple people with her, because the
And how
goat
old
man.
were these people?
It doesn't say.
And this was in the 60s?
Yes.
Headed into the 70s?
Yes.
Okay, well, they were high. You see a lot of stuff when you're high, apparently, you know? I mean, not that I would know, but let's be real here.
Yeah. I mean, that is totally true and totally plausible.
I mean, let's be real. They were high.
Well, I will tell you, This is a legend in Lake Worth, and I heard this all the time.
Yeah, but just because you hear it doesn't mean it's real.
It's true, but I mean,
I mean, I heard the
there's
government was going to give us money back. I'm still waiting for that to be true. Come on now.
okay. So we had our first cryptid story. Are you ready for another?
Okay.
All right. So this one is a little bit of a longy,
A
long one,
longie?
a long,
A
long one.
longie? Nope, that's the word now. It's a longie.
It's a longy.
It's a longie.
All right, cool. okay, so we are going to get into the story of the Rougarou.
The Rougarou.
The Rougarou.
That's the one they've talked about on Supernatural, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I'm very happy that you know that. All
I've
right.
watched every episode, and I watched every episode way before I ever met you. Let's calm down.
Yeah, avid Supernatural lovers. Yeah, she loves Supernatural, but yet you do not, um, you don't believe.
I love Smallville too, but I don't think there's a man from another planet here with powers from the yellow sun.
It's comic books. That's different. Okay, Rougarou, or the Swamp Werewolf. Parents raising their families in swamplands of Louisiana don't scare their children with stories of Dracula or the boogeyman. Instead, they spin tales of the Rougarou, a once human, wolf-like, shape-shifting beast who walks on two legs. It looms over us, somewhere between 7 and 8 feet tall, depending on whose tale it is, and it eats little children out past their curfew. Children's fairy tale or not, adults scatter around the parish claiming that they have seen Rougarous creeping through the brush in the dark. So this is full-grown adults that also say this, that they've seen. There's multiple encounters of this.
How does it know which kids are out past their curfew?
Well, curfew used to be whenever the sun went down.
The streetlights came on.
Yeah, the street lights came down. So you were out past when the street lights came on.
So this alleged creature is the one who made up its own curfew. Because what if you had a different curfew than another kid? Like, how does it know? Your mom says, hey, I want you to be home at 10. Whereas, little Jimmy's mom says, nah, bro, you have to be home at 8. And you're out at 8:30, and then this
when
thing
we grow up, everybody had that same curfew whenever the street lights came on.
I love how this creature just knows that. Like, did they have like a meeting with the parents to say, hey, this is when we want you to eat the kids?
All right, you ready for the tale?
I thought the tale was like 7 feet long. I thought this was a story.
Okay, all right, you ready for the story?
All right, let's go.
Okay. My grandmother's farm was situated on 15 acres of land north of Hayden, Alabama. It was several hours from our home, and we would make the drive there a handful of times a year, mostly in the summers. I can remember the anticipation I would feel as we drive up the long driveway to find the modest house, which my grandfather Elmer had built with his bare hands. Perched atop the hill, picturing it now, I see the rusted tin roof, the weathered porch, and the dilapidated barn that stood out back. As a child, none of that mattered to us, obviously. We spent our days roaming the rolling countryside, swimming in the nearby creek, and playing on the old oak that grew beside the house, whose branches were so large they scraped the ground. The fields surrounding the farmhouse were no longer fertile, providing ample space for us to properly conduct the adventures we concocted in our minds. When we were surrounded by the dense forest of the Alabama countryside, I always cherished the time I spent with my grandmother. When we were inside, she was about always singing to us, telling us stories about when she was a girl, teaching us how to make things out of sticks and strings, and passing down the type of random wisdom that only a grandmother can have. Unfortunately, I never knew my grandfather. My grandmother said he died in a hunting accident when I was very young. I heard so much about him from her and my parents. However, I felt like I knew him. He was a large man, strong as an ox, my grandmother would say, who would farm the fields from sunup to sundown without so much as a whisper of complaint. My grandmother and her family of Cajun descent had met my grandfather at school in Louisiana, and the two had moved out to this land, left to them by Elmer's uncle, who started a life together. My mother had been born in this very farmhouse. I respected my grandmother more than any other person on this earth, but she was not without her quirks, the strangest of which was her insistence that we follow 3 specific rules as long as we were there. I can remember her pulling my sister and I close, kissing us on the forehead, and gently reminding us about about them each time we arrived. Don't leave food outside. No singing past dark. And most importantly, never go into the woods. She would never explain why they were important, only that they were important. The rules were something we rarely questioned. Grandma said to follow them, so we did. Simple as that. The first two were pretty easy. I wasn't much of a singer, and we didn't have food outside unless my grandmother had given it to us. But the third was a bit more challenging. Her property was surrounded by woods on all sides, with a buffer of several hundred yards between the house and the tree line, and my sister and I were often tempted to go exploring within. We'd ask permission, stating our ages as proof that we were responsible and could take care of ourselves. Without fail, she would always reply, "The rules are for your safety, Shah. You mustn't break them." Shah is the Cajun word that means deer. I can only remember one evening when my sister was 3 or 4 years old when she accidentally left some food outside. We had been eating bologna sandwiches on the back steps. I remember we both liked ours smashed down and cut into little squares. Having finished mine, I had gone inside to get something to drink, and she had followed me, leaving her plate behind. Later that night, we were all in front of the fireplace, curled up in Grandma's lap, under one of her large quilts, telling stories and laughing when we heard something scratching at the back door. Immediately, I felt my body tense underneath me, and she shot a glance over my father, who was sitting on the floor. He tried to keep his face blank, but I could see worry creeping through. "What is that, Grandma?" I asked. "Probably just a raccoon," my father said, starting to stand. "Shah, let me," Grandma said. My father picked us up from the lap, gently placing us on the floor as she made her way to the back of the house. A few moments later, she walked back into the den and sat down. She was holding my sister's empty plate from earlier. When my sister saw the plate, she looked on my grandma's face. She burst into tears. "It's okay," she said, hugging my sister tightly. "Let's do our best not to do this again, okay?" Later that night, when everyone was in bed, I crept out from beneath the covers and tiptoed to the back door. It was open. I don't think the house had air conditioning, and the doors were often left open with the screen door closed to keep the bugs out. I was old enough to be curious about what had happened earlier and young enough to not be scared about what I might find. There was a single bulb above the back door and cast a narrow beam of light that illuminated the back steps. On the top two steps, bathed in the eerie light of the dim bulb, were dozens of long black hairs. After the food incident, I became a bit more aware about the things that had happened around the farmhouse and started to have the notion that my grandmother was hiding something. I wasn't sure what it was. Whatever was at the back door was part of it. The next year, my sister and I found a dead deer about 50 yards from the tree line. I think it was a deer at least. Its head was completely missing and its body was completely mutilated. Even at my young age, I knew no other animal had done that. When I told my grandmother about it, rather than being shocked, she acted if it was a commonplace, saying to stay away from it and my father would take it somewhere. The following year was there was one night when we were all awoken by something banging around in the barn. In the morning, when we went out to investigate, it was clear that someone had vandalized it. One of the barn doors was completely ripped off the front, and everything inside was torn apart, like somebody was looking for something. Grandma said that it must have been thieves looking for iron to scrap, but what thieves would have gone looking for iron in a barn in the middle of nowhere? Later, the same trip, as I was playing on the old oak, I noticed my sister had strayed rather close to the tree lines. The next thing I knew, I saw my father sprinting across the fields toward her. When he reached her, he grabbed her, threw her over his shoulder, and sprinted towards the house. He had scared the shit out of her, so I guess that's why she was crying hysterically. But my father would never say why he had to get her away from there so quickly. There were other incidences like that over the years, but as a child I never quite pieced them all together. The last time I visited my grandmother's house, this was the summer I turned 16. It was the summer my grandmother finally told me about the secret that she had been keeping for so long. At 16, as most kids are, I was pretty defiant. I still had a great respect for my grandma, don't get me wrong, but I was growing a bit tired of the seemingly arbitrary nature of the rules, especially the third one. Never go into the woods. What was I, 5? By that time, I'd basically run out of things to do at the farm and wanted desperately to explore the woods I had been barred from entering for so long. So one day, I did. It was an exceptionally hot July day, and I decided to follow the little creek that wound through the corner of the property into the woods. The foliage was dense and unforgiving, blocking out so much of the sun, and providing much needed respite from the heat. I kicked my shoes off and began walking along the creek's sandy bank, losing myself in the hum of the water as it rushed and various sticks and stones and clatter of birds and insects around me. When I was gone far enough that I couldn't see the tree line, I noticed aside from the sound of water, I couldn't hear the sound of the birds or insects any longer. The forest had become deadly silent. The air was unnaturally still, creating an odd sense of unease with me. Never forgetting my grandmother's warning, I believed that I had somehow worn out my welcome. I hastily turned to head back to the farmhouse. I stopped when I heard a crack of a branch far off in the distance behind me. Afraid to look back, I started walking again. A few steps later, I heard it again. It was the sound of someone or something moving through the dense underbrush in my direction. I turned slowly, and what I saw scared the living shit out of me. It was in the distance. I saw a silhouette of some lumbering beast walking towards me through the forest. It was tall, over 6 feet, and looked mostly like a man, except what appeared to be ears sprouting from the top of its dark head. I could see its eyes, large and yellow, shining at me, even though the rest of the head was shrouded in darkness. I stumbled backwards, falling in the sandy water, then turned and tore through the woods, sprinting over rocks, pine cones, and bars in a mad dash to escape everything that was coming for me. I didn't even bother stopping to grab my shoes. When I made it back to the farmhouse, I slammed the outer door and locked it shut, then ran inside to find my grandmother. I found her sitting at the kitchen table preparing some beans for dinner. I was a mess, covered in sweat, wet and sandy, and I'm sure my eyes belied my terror. When she looked up at me, she could tell immediately that something had happened. "Were you in the woods?" was all she asked. "I'm sorry, Grandma. I didn't know there was a thing." I stumbled over my words, not knowing exactly what to say to her. Instead of being angry, she looked at me with sadness in her eyes and motioned for me to come and sit beside her. My foot was bleeding, and once she bandaged it, she began to tell me a story. The Luguru is what you saw. It's also called a Rougarou outside of Louisiana, I believe. My mother used to tell me the tales about a monster, part man, part wolf, that would roam the swamps around my home and snatch children that had strayed too far from their parents. A children's fable, sure, which I never really believed to be true, yet the story still scared me. It wasn't until I moved here to the farm that I realized it wasn't just a story. Your grandfather, on one of his hunting trips, found the carcass of an animal that had been ripped to shreds beyond recognition. He hunted the animal he believed had caused it, thinking it was a bear, finally tracked it down to its den deep in the forest. It was no bear child. Your grandfather described it as a man with long, dark hair covering his body, yet with the head of a wolf, just like the stories. The two fought, your grandfather prevailing, but not before being gravely injured. Several hours after he came back the night, a sickness overtook him. He wailed and moaned in his sleep that night, and in the morning his eyes had sunken into his head, and his hair on his body had started to grow long, deep, and black. A few hours later he was gone. I guess he realized what was happening and didn't want to endanger me. The thing you saw today in the forest, child, that was your grandfather. My heart was broken. I have lost the only man I had ever loved. I didn't know how to cope with it. I would sit out on the back steps and sing old songs my mother used to sing to me, and I would see creeping out of the forest to listen, only coming close enough to show me that he was there. I would leave food on the back steps at night, and he would come and eat, always licking the plate clean. I didn't think the transformation was fully complete then. Your grandfather was still inside somehow. I hoped that he could come back from whatever he had become. Then I started to hear the howling and find dead animals, and that's when I knew your grandfather was gone. The rules, now you can see, are meant to protect your child. He is drawn to the food and to the singing, still remembering how I comforted him during those early days, and anything that goes into the woods doesn't come out alive. I'm thankful you're here. This must be your last trip here. Now that he has seen you up close, he will have a taste for your blood, and he won't stop until he drains every last bit from your body. Your grandfather has several guns here, but I dare not use them, and I caution you to heed his warning. If you succeed in killing him, I fear you would face the same fate as your grandfather. If the old tales are true, he who kills a Rougarou eventually becomes one. And that's it.
That's sad.
That is sad.
Like, I don't think that her husband turned into a walking werewolf man, but that's still sad because he still died.
His body started getting cloaked in dark hairs, like the Rougarou, and eventually he just disappeared.
And she's literally the only witness to that. Like, you have nothing. Because there's an actual disease that they call it was like a werewolf syndrome or something.
Yes, there is werewolf syndrome.
Are covered in hair all the time.
If I'm not mistaken, you have to be born with it.
That's something we can look up later.
Yeah.
But still, a 6 foot tall, pointy eared man is walking around various forests and swamps. Why forests and swamps? If you're supposed to be going after kids that are out past curfew, you should be wandering around like the city.
I think like with every animal, you live in a certain area. You know, you're natured to that climate. So that's the swamp werewolf lives in swamps.
So we've just like bypassed the swamp thing and have just gone straight to a werewolf there.
Best way to describe it.
No.
No.
No. You have no, that would be so no. That would be so difficult to prove.
Okay.
Like you have zero ways of proving that any of that is real.
Yeah, and I think that's what you have to go into this with is just a little sliver of, well, could this be real? Because
No.
you just need
couldn't be real.
one thing
No, it
to
couldn't
be
be
real.
No.
You just need
No.
one of these things to be real, and then it opens up the possibility of, well, if that's real, what else is real?
None of this.
I want to make you believe.
No, it's not gonna happen because there's nothing. You have no like they're talking about the science. Well, there was no scientific evidence to back. There's no scientific evidence to back any of this up.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have zero proof. You have no DNA. You have no skin cells. You have nothing to prove that this thing in either one of these stories is real. You have literally a bunch of teenagers in the 60s.
Nobody said they were teenagers.
They
We don't know
sound
how
like
old they
teenagers partying out on an island. Sounds like a makeout spot.
were. It very well.
Considering I've
might have
seen
been.
Lake Worth, that's what it was. There ain't nothing to do there, y'all. Nothing.
It's grown. It's grown.
Yeah, now
But in the 60s,
we're in 2025.
Yeah, in the 60s, that's a little bit harder to believe.
They've got 3 hotels there now, guys. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And a Walmart. I think they just finally renovated the movie theater that's been there since the 90s. The one with the sticky floors.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. The swords are so... yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the original stick, too.
Yeah, and now they have 2 steakhouses, guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're like such a big kid now. Yeah, no, they were, that was a makeout central. I'm sure of it. So that they were high. So they just saw stuff.
Okay, so right here, I have the only photographic evidence of the Lake Worth monster.
Looks like
Goatman.
a chick walking around in a mink coat.
Well, there's the head here.
That could be a flower. That's such a terrible photo.
It's the 60s.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't really have high-def cameras back then.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've seen some photos.
You've seen some...
Like this one. It's not real.
Right.
It's not.
Okay, and let's... my Rougarou
It's
picture.
also just a fun word to say. Rougarou.
Rougarou. I love
Rougarou.
that word so much.
Let's see if we can look at a
Rougarou.
picture of a Rougarou.
Right here. Here we go.
That doesn't look anything like what the person described in this story.
Dark hair. Dark black hair.
But it was
walking
like
on 2 lips.
a face of a man with pointy ears. That's a full-on wolf. This dude saw a wolf, and he was just...
Right here. Pointy ears. Dark hair.
Doesn't look like a man, though. It looks like a
These
wolf.
are all different depictions of a Rougarou.
Okay, but if this is supposed to be the same thing, why are there so many different photos and illustrations of these creatures?
It is. You take something. You give an artist like an idea. Like, hey, this is what I saw. Can you draw it for me? And then he comes with his own depiction of it. Might be slightly off, but it's a depiction. Go to a different guy. Hey, can you draw this for me? Or maybe you have some inherent drawing skills and you draw what you saw. So you have different little variations. So
The Loup-garou. That's
Yes.
French, in case you didn't know. I learned that
Loup-garou.
from one of my favorite books.
Lop, French for wolf, and garou, English werewolf. The man who transforms into an animal.
I knew that one.
There you go.
I've literally read Blood and Chocolate like a million times.
I've heard of it. I have never read it.
Don't watch the movie because it sucked.
Oh wow, strong opinion.
Oh my gosh, it was nothing at all like the book. Don't do it. If you're gonna
What?
watch it,
What movie is like the book?
the first 2 Harry Potters,
Okay, yeah,
they're not
you know
too
what?
different.
They're not too different. Okay, all right, that's fair.
Twilight really wasn't. I mean, they left out some things, but
Eh,
it wasn't too bad.
that's fair. All right.
No,
All right.
this one was like so far away from. It wasn't even in the same country. Like the book takes place in this country, in the United States of America, and it's got specific people that are alive,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got a specific storyline, and it's got specific people that the main character interacts with, and who this person interacts with through the entire book.
Mm-hmm.
And then they take in the movie, they take everybody, and it's like they threw them up in the air, and whichever ones landed on the table are the ones that stayed in the movie, and then anybody who fell on the floor, oh well, you're out. Like they had
There's no rhyme or reason of why
no,
they kept them.
and then they had them in. I think they had them in France. Like that's great, that's fine, but you didn't have the same storyline, so you couldn't even connect it back to the same book
Okay. All
because then
right.
she didn't even interact with the people properly in the movie the way she did in the book. And if it's been a while since I've seen it, so I can't remember if she was in high school in the movie, but she was still in high school in the book.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. Maybe some of the scenes that are in the book you couldn't do with an actual minor, because there's a couple scenes when they're turning into werewolves, they're taking off their clothes. You're not doing that with a 16-year-old. Like, no, I
Yeah.
wouldn't let my 16-year-old do that.
Have some class.
So I get
I'll
that
agree.
if maybe you cast somebody who is, in high school, you change that to maybe you alter a few things to
Of course.
be respectful, but you don't change the entire freaking premise of the book. Anyway, that's not what this thing is about. But
Okay. I mean, you were close. It
you
was a
got me on
werewolf.
a rabbit trail here.
Yes. Hopefully one of many rabbit trails, as we
I'm
both seem to go down them.
I am a rabbit trail expert. I love rabbit trails. But I don't believe in werewolves. And even though I love vampires, I don't believe in vampires. I believe in the vampire bat because that's a literal proven thing that I could, you know, go to the zoo and see.
Okay.
But I don't believe that there is. I think the origin story of Dracula is super cool. The
Yes.
chick is insane.
We'll
Before,
we'll get into Dracula at a later
yeah,
time.
but
Today we're talking about a goat man
well, he's not
and
real either.
a goat man and a variation of a werewolf.
Yes,
A
he's not real
Rougarou.
either.
All right. Okay. So, I think I'll end this podcast. The same way.
Wow, we already just are quitting now because I didn't believe after the first two stories. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, those are all the ones that I have for you today. Who knows? Maybe I'll find some more later.
Are there other accounts of this Rougarou?
Yes. So I read probably about a dozen stories. I tried to come prepared on this one, and the Lake Worth monster after two accounts, two visible sightings of them. It's kind of hard to find.
Because it's not real.
It's
So
hard to
why
find. It's hard to find stories about them.
now with the goat man
Yes.
was y'all can't see it, but I'm rolling my eyes. Um, you could only find two stories because it's not real. But how much further past this like 1969 did that second story go, or were they both in the 60s?
I think it said. I think in the story it said. Yeah, I heard that.
That was my stomach.
Oh wow, that was weird. I heard it. So I think it was in the '90s when that second story came. No. That was
No.
'69. Yeah, that was 2 months later.
Okay,
It's 2
so
months later.
okay, so those were both part of the same year. So you weren't able to find any other stories past November of 1969?
It might have moved on, but it is a Lake Worth boogeyman.
Isn't there another one in Lake Worth? Because I feel like you and I have at least at one point talked about Goatman in Lake Worth. I feel like maybe you told me about it.
I've told you the story. Not like the full story, but I've told you of him.
Okay, so then there's one that I saw the other day that there's some other man. Lake Worth is not a place to live apparently.
So there's gators in the lakes.
Well, yeah, we've seen videos of that.
There's like some monster gators.
Allegedly.
No.
No, there was like a supernatural air quotes like creature other than the Goatman that lives there.
I'm gonna have to do a little bit of digging on that, but I mean, there's some spiritual stuff, some like ghosts, as there are everywhere.
You can't see ghosts. I'm not denying the existence of ghosts,
Okay, all right. So there's a sliver.
but you can't
There's a
see
sliver for
them.
me to work with. Okay, so
No,
maybe cryptids isn't the way to attack this.
no, because here's the thing. Because if we want to get to the reason why I don't believe you can see ghosts, logically, because I'm not super scientifically minded because I don't care either. I don't like science. I never have.
You don't like science?
No, I find science to be very freaking boring. So boring. Like, no, I would rather read history. Um,
Yes, I've managed to decipher that.
yeah. So, but when you can't prove that any of that is real, because it's all myths and legends, and they all start out that way. Like,
What about these first-hand accounts?
they're on cocaine.
Everybody's on cocaine.
Yes. I don't see any of this stuff. Like, you stick me out on an island
Uh-huh.
where somebody or just
An
put me in a
island
house.
full of cocaine. You're gonna see some stuff.
No, because I don't do cocaine. No, you stick me somewhere where all of these encounters have happened. You give me a 30-06 rifle, a couple 45s, and I'll take care of that crap right now.
Okay, all
And
right.
and then I'm gonna drag it to the front. It's gonna be a wolf.
It's gonna be a wolf.
It's just gonna be a wolf. That's what the
Okay.
Ruger is. It's just a wolf. Because when you're in the woods, I mean, things play tricks on you
Okay.
because you have been scared of these woods your whole life. You and that sister, she a problem. Like you
She
were
was 3.
not the second time when she was going there by the woods. She was like 5.
Oh yeah, yeah. All
Like these are rules.
right. Mm-hmm.
Like even if you don't understand them, like we have family in Kentucky, and it's like my second cousin, and we went to their house. My parents were inside, and we're like, we want to go outside, and my cousin Nadine said, okay, but if y'all go out there, don't touch the fence. She didn't tell us why we couldn't touch the fence. She just don't touch the fence.
Is Nadine available for a phone call so I can ask about this fence? See
No,
what
we
kind of
touched the
property
fence.
y'all touch the
We touched the
fence.
fence. Of course, we touched the fence.
Okay.
We
Okay.
touched the fence. It was electric. It was an electric fence. So now when people tell me, hey, don't touch the fence, I don't touch the fence
Okay. All
because
right.
that's dumb. But also, we sort of dared each other
Mm.
because she said, don't touch it. And we're like, well, why can't we touch it? And so then we dared each other. My sisters and I dared each other to touch the fence.
And
And we touched the fence and it hurt. So
just a
I
little
don't
bit.
go around touching fences anymore. So if somebody says, don't do this, like, because the sister was sitting on the grandma's lap too, right? When
Yeah.
this
When
Rougarou,
when the scratching happened.
when that happened,
Yeah.
and then you can count all of these hairs, like half a dozen hairs.
Yeah. She said that there's just hairs there. It's found a. I mean, you say half dozen. It's just a handful of hairs that
A
she
handful of
found.
hairs. Okay. So these hairs are magically there.
Mm-hmm.
You live in the middle of nowhere. You're literally in the middle of the woods and you left food out and you're shocked that a creature came up and scratched on the door? Duh.
Okay. All right. All right. So cryptid. Yeah, definitely cryptids is not the way to go for you.
Like, come
But
on.
I think cryptids are going to be a fun conversation to go down because there's so many. There's
Yeah,
so
well,
many out there.
you know,
There's just a huge laundry list of cryptids, folklores, and all these scary things that are just waiting in the dark. It's a great thing. I remember whenever I was a kid, my all of my family, they would warn me, like, don't go out there. Why? The good boy's gonna get you.
this isn't Pleasanton?
This isn't Blitz.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That sounds like something your grandma would say.
Oh, totally. Everybody. And then
But I
it's
feel like I've heard your grandma talk about the chupacabra too, so.
well, yeah. I mean, we had goats on the ranch, so yeah, she talked
Oh,
about the
look, there's your
chupacabra.
goat man.
Oh,
Just
oh,
hanging out at Johnny's.
oh, yeah, yeah. I moved him personally from Lake Worth to.
Yeah, I figured. Figured. See? Not real.
Okay.
Otherwise, you could show them to me.
Okay. All right. So cryptids is not the way to go. So maybe let's switch on to some more spiritual. So some demon possession, the haunting. Let's. I mean, against my better judgment, maybe we talk a little bit about Annabelle and
We are
Robert the
not
doll.
bringing that crazy doll in this house.
Oh,
Like,
no,
we're
no,
not
no.
even
Oh,
talking.
we're not
No.
touching
You,
it.
if you're, do you do any research on that flipping doll? It's not going to be in my house. Like,
Okay.
you are, no. That doll is so, no.
Okay. All
No.
right. So there's a sliver.
I don't like the doll.
All right. So, all right. Well, we're coming up on some time. I think this will be a good stopping point. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to end this show in the same way. I'm just gonna ask you one simple question before we head out. Do you believe?
No, I do not. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Maybe
All
next
right, all
time.
right. At least there's some progress. There's a maybe there.
Okay,
All right.
well,
I
you
feel like I
can.
can work with that. I've worked with a whole lot less.
All right, well, try again next time.
Okay. All right. Well, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Excuse me, this wasn't my idea.
There's no evidence. Okay. All right. Well, bye. We'll see you later.